and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Let's Taste with the Intrepid Wino. My name is James Scaresbrook, and joining me for this episode is Millie, the wine tasting dog. Not really. And I got submitted a sample quite a while ago, actually. I've been busy preparing for babies and going away. I haven't had a chance to taste it. From Yalumba. Yalumba, arguably the most important producer in the Barossa Valley, famously the oldest family-owned wine business in Australia, and it is the Antique Tawny, and I think it's possibly maybe one of the first. I can't remember if I've done any fortified wines. Fortified wines are basically made, obviously the grapes are harvested. They start the fermentation process, and then the fermentation is stopped by adding a distilled spirit, and that stops that fermentation but also kicks up the alcohol percentage, and you have a residual sugar, and then often the wine is aged in barrels where it sort of reduces and concentrates, and most commonly is a blend of vintages. It's a non-vintage blend, and that certainly is the case here with the Yalumba Antique Tawny Museum Reserve. The 375ml bottle is, I believe, retailed for $25. I'm just trying to see if there's of course, Australia has, pun intended, a very rich history of fortified wine production. In fact, the vast majority, almost all wine produced in Australia up to sort of the 60s was fortified wine. There really wasn't a market, a taste for dry wines in Australia, and certainly in terms of exporting of wines, the fortified wines were having great success overseas, but fortified wines, probably more than dessert wines, but still the same, a similar kind of situation. A lot less popular. People like dry wines, and I don't think people really do appreciate the beauty of fortified wines. Of course, you can't call them port, because where port comes from Porto in Portugal, and that is protected, so it's a tawny, which is historically would have been referred to as tawny port, but technically it's not. So colour wise, it does have that lovely kind of bronzy toffee sort of colour, really good viscosity. We're talking 19% alcohol. Don't have too much of this one. Sip it. Very small glasses generally. Nice intensity, not super dark in concentration. So I'm not sure what the average age of this tawny is, but it's got a bit of age to it. Very heady, nutty caramel. Hints of some marzipan. Salty, earthy. Chocolate raisins, that kind of thing. Lovely and nutty caramel, salted caramel. Very heady, very heady. Let's taste. Ooh. Incredibly complex wine. It builds from the mid palate. It has exquisite length, really incredible length. Still tasting. The viscosity, the alcohol, the intensity of the wines, that concentrated nature really contributes to that depth, that length, and the complexity is quite pronounced. It really does evolve and change across the palate. But it's not super sickly sweet. It's not syrupy. There is some intense sweetness there, but it's not kind of cloying. It's not broad or ungainly. It's quite restrained. It's quite focused. There's good acidity there. There is some warmth, but you know, if you're drinking tawny, you don't expect some serious alcohol there, then you know, why are you drinking tawny? But it is really well balanced. It's beautifully balanced by the other components of the wine. It really has been a beautiful selection of material here, and kept in, you know, incredible conditions in the cellars. So look, that is a really exquisite wine, and look, $25 for that half bottle, that is an absolute bargain. Really beautiful wine. You know, you could have it with certain desserts, but you know, it's going to be beautiful with cheeses. Not that I you know, smoke very often, and certainly, you know, cigars are somewhat of an acquired taste, but I think that with the cigar would be beautiful. You know, one of the best matches I ever had was a cigar with a beautiful old cognac, and the kind of caramel saltiness of the cognac beautifully paired with the cigar. So I think that would be a really interesting option with the cigar if you are that way inclined. And you could even have with some cheeses as well. But beautiful wine. Thank you so much to Yalumba and Pippa. Shout outs to Pippa for submitting a sample. It has been really lovely sharing a wine that Yalumba possibly is not particularly well known for. And of course, they're well known for their whites and reds, but possibly not for their fortified wines. And Barossa Valley in general, possibly not well known for its fortified wines, but has an incredible history. Seppeltsfield, I had Fiona Donald as a guest on my podcast talking about Seppeltsfield, you know, and she's worked in the Barossa Valley for many years. It has a beautiful history of fortified wine production, and Yalumba is certainly no stranger to that. Thank you very much, guys, also for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please hit that like button. Make sure to share it on social media. Leave me a comment below. What's been the best fortified wine you ever tasted? You know, what style do you prefer as far as fortified wines go? Make sure you subscribe to the Intrepid Wino YouTube channel. There's lots and lots more videos here, including lots of editions of Let's Taste, including some previous editions tasting some Yalumba wines. Come and visit me at intrepidwino.com. There's lots more content and also ways of getting in contact with me. If you'd like to submit samples, I'm more than happy to look at some wines. Get in contact with me via the website, and make sure to follow me on social media at Intrepid Wino on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. But until next time, guys, cheers.